This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 21. Hey everybody, I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Peter Rios.
We are sexy bitches, yeah!
Welcome. What the hell are you doing, Peter? You're banging around the microphone? Some kind of amateur over there? Jeez. Hey, welcome to episode 21. With us here is Jamie D'Alessandro. Welcome, Jamie.
Hello. Episode 21, so I guess we're now old enough to drink?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
We should have done shots.
Yeah, in celebration. All right. Let's see. What are we going to do today, Peter? I have my list in front of me. We are going to make a very cool announcement. We're going to explain our absence over the last few days. We're going to stump the Rios, as we always do. We're going to talk about some emails that we've gotten. We're going to announce the winner of the last Stump the Audience contest. Mm-hmm. And we're also going to discuss a little bit about a book that we got for free from a listener. So it's a full plate.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing, mega announcement. This is huge.
We need a drum roll.
I don't have that sound effect, so... Okay, that's enough of that.
That's annoying.
We are going to have another contest. And let me tell you, this is a very cool contest.
Get ready, people.
All right, here's the contest. We'll tell you about the prizes later, but first the contest. What we want you to do is we want you to create for us a 30-second promo. Okay, I don't know if any of you listen to Adam Curry, but he's always playing promos on his show. And all it has to be is, about 30 seconds and explain the show. So what we want you to do is we want you to go out there and find cool clips from our show, sound effects, those crazy radio show. It's time for Comic Geek Speak, featuring Brian and Peter and exciting adventures in the world of comics, whatever. Something like that.
Use something from one of our past podcasts, our introduction or whatever.
Make it sound really professional and really cool. Something that Adam Curry will want to play on his show. And we'll use it for other things, too, just because, we want to advertise our show. So now, you ask yourself, what do you get for doing this for us?
Hold on to your seats,
Yeah,
people.
This is sweet. We approached the good people at Discount Comic Book Service. We talk about them all the time because we
love them.
That's right. We buy all our comics from them, and we tell you all the time it's 35 to 50% off all your books. So obviously that's a good deal.
And we've turned a few people onto the site.
We've gotten at least 4 emails from people saying that they've placed orders.
Right.
And I don't know how many other people have ordered but not sent us emails. So we talked to them and we said, hey, could you give us a trade paperback or a hardcover or something so that we can give it away as a prize? Peter and I don't actually get anything for it. We just want a prize so that we can give it away.
Believe me, when you hear the prizes, I'm ready to quit the podcast and enter the contest.
Yeah. So they said, well, how one trade paperback, that's not enough. How about we give you 5? So now, here's the list. This is what you will win if you do a promo for us and if we pick it as the one that we like the most. Okay. Essential Defenders Volume 1. The Complete John Sable Freelance Trade Paperback. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes Oversized Hardcover. Ultimates Volume 1 Oversized Hardcover. And Superman Batman The Supergirl Storyline Hardcover. Wow. So that's 3 hardcovers and 2 trade paperbacks. The cover price of these is over $100. So you get $100 worth of merchandise for just creating a 30-second MP3 for us. So the deadline for this contest is June 1st. And the reason for that is because June 1st, Discount Comic Book Service is launching a new website. It's called InStockTrades.com. And it's going to be all trade paperbacks and hardcovers that they are ready to ship tomorrow, all at 35% off. So that's a huge website. That's going to be a very, very cool thing. So this is a little promotion for this website. Now, again, Peter and I are not getting paid for this. The freebies that we're getting are just going right to you. And it's just, we thank them very much for providing this to our fans and making this contest exciting. So again, you get Essential Defenders Volume 1 trade paperback, the complete John Sable Freelance trade paperback, Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes oversized hardcover, Ultimates Volume 1 oversized hardcover, and Superman Batman the Supergirl storyline hardcover. All that is yours for free if you create the promo for us that we like the most. So get at your computers, get to work. You got until June 1st. We'll take those, just send them to us at comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. We'll review them. We'll listen to them, and we'll decide on the winner, within a day or two after June 1st. Because you can send it to us up to June 1st. So as we record this, it's Friday the 13th. It's May 13th. So you get 2 weeks. 2 weeks and a few days to get hammering away at this contest.
And we'll probably, most likely, it'll be Brian and I, and probably Jamie and some of the other ones to listen to it too, because definitely we want to get as much feedback on these as possible. Right. So it's not just Brian and I voting. I mean, it's going to, because it could easily become a 50-50 thing. So I'd rather have more people.
Yeah, I can be bought. Just throw a clip of mine in there, and that's the one I'll vote for.
Yeah, I mean, and do that. Be as creative as you need to be. Find someone with a great speaking voice. Go through the podcast. If there's some comment that we've made or something about comics, I mean, we want it to showcase what we talk about, and we talk about a lot, but, we want it to be special in that aspect.
Yeah, and sexy girl voices help.
Yeah.
That, if you want brownie points, that's the one way to do it. Some moaning, maybe,
jeez.
Oh, Peter, something like that. That'll go a long way.
Yeah. So this is going to be hot. I mean, that you can't beat that prize right now. I mean,
no, that's $100. And we just
I'm buying most of those books.
I know.
I've ordered most of those books.
And I mean, we just talked about 2 shows ago the Ultimates and how great it is. So here's your chance to get it. If you haven't read it, you get the hardcover is beautiful. I just bought it. Just like my last shipment.
Exactly.
I paid $15 for it. So do yourself a favor and win the contest. All right, Peter. You and I were both missing in action for almost a week.
Yeah, we were.
Why don't you tell your story and then I'll tell mine.
Cool. I've mentioned a few times that I'm in the theater business, the entertainment professional. Not like I'm a famous superstar or anything like that. Professional, hey.
I get paid to do it.
As long as I get paid to do it, that's being a professional. So every year, this is my 5th year, I work with a friend. She owns a production company in Philadelphia, and she runs the Commerce Bank Award Show every year. It's called the WOW Awards. Their slogan and their training mantra is wow. Wow your customers, wow your people, etc. So it's totally for Commerce Bank, just their employees, no families, no public. It's just for them. About 8,000 people came to this event this year. It was held for the second year, not in a row, but for the second year at Radio City Music Hall up in New York. So I get hired. Like I said, this is my 5th year. We've done it in Atlantic City. We did it at the Tweeter Center. I'm hired as a dancer, but I'm also hired to help choreograph Commerce Bank employees who volunteer to dance on stage as part of the entertainment. We did 3 numbers, and they learn. We split them up, and they learn. One group learns one dance, one group learns the other one. And my group was up in Manhattan, so every Wednesday for the past 2 months, I've been going up to help teach them this dance. And imagine that picture, bankers dancing. So it's kind of funny.
So one can only dream.
You're right. But they love it. They have a lot of fun, and it pays incredibly well. I mean, every time I go up there, I stayed at the Crowne Plaza in New York, which is like a $300 a night hotel. The production company really takes care of me. So last Wednesday, I was up there. The show actually was Saturday night. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all day Saturday was nothing but rehearsal and tech for the show. But the big thing was I got to dance with the Rockettes, tap dance with the Rockettes. And it was funny because when I went in there on Wednesday, the choreographer, what we talked about, you could tell what she really wanted to ask me is how good of a tap dancer are you? But we had to go through what are you familiar with? And then how do you, da-da-da. Meanwhile, I knew what she wanted to ask me.
Right, just come out and say
just
it,
come out and say it. Yeah, do you want me to dance for you? So we danced in shoes first, regular jazz shoes first, and then the minute I put my tap shoes on, the choreographer told my producer later, she said a couple of the Rockettes actually were like, oh, okay, he can dance. And better than some of the Rockettes, from what I found out. But there I am in a room with 20
leggy babes.
Oh my God, it was incredible. It was a bittersweet production because in the actual production I had to tap dance wearing the Commerce Bank mascot suit, which is this giant C. Yeah, it's this giant Mr. C. It's the C Commerce Bank.
It's a giant C.
Lahu Zahur.
So that's what was bittersweet. There I am. I'm like, but dancing with the Rockettes, but nobody knows it's me. So, but the rehearsals, because I have all these union rules, I didn't have to wear the suit. I couldn't wear the suit actually a lot of times because wardrobe wasn't working yet, or whatever. It was an incredible experience. I mean, first of all, like you said, like I just mentioned, it's the Rockettes, and they're all just gorgeous women. And I'm standing there at the one time behind them in my Commerce Bank suit, and I'm looking, I'm going, and I have a very small eye hole that I look through. I'm going, oh, they don't know where I'm looking, do they? And I'm standing behind them, so you figure out what I was looking at.
I can look at whatever I want,
right? And I'm going, yep. You ever see History of the World with Madeline Kahn, where she's like, yes, yes, no, yes, and I'm going right down the line, yes, yes, no. So it was really skeevy and pervy.
yeah, like there was a no. Give me a break.
Oh, actually, there. You know what?
Really?
Well, I'm not gonna say anything because they might listen, and I'll never work there again. So I stayed at the Hilton up at Rockefeller Plaza. I was there. I didn't leave until Monday morning. 5 nights in a great hotel. 3-4 hard days of rehearsal and work. But it paid off in front of 7,000, 8,000 screaming Commerce Bank employees. The Rockettes said they never get an audience like that, ever. So that was my job. That was what I was doing during the day and at night, working there. The other fun thing that happened was I got to go to Scores. Brian and I, and Jamie, most of us, we're big Howard Stern fans. We always hear him talking about going to Scores, going to party. So one of my coworkers, and it was a girl, she's like, what are you doing tonight? I said, what do you mean what I'm doing tonight? It's Friday night. We teched I've been on stage for 12 hours. I'm going to bed. We got to get up at 8 the next morning. She goes, no, we're going to Scores. I'm like, when and where?
See, now, I have to interject here because
Right.
Friday night, Tasha and I were in New York because we went to see the premiere of Double Dare, the movie. And so Peter said, hey, instead of driving home at midnight on Friday night, why don't you just crash at the hotel because it's got 2 beds in the room and I'm not paying for it, so come on over. So we're like, cool. And he says, yeah, but I'm going to be going out. And at this point, you didn't know.
No, at that point, I didn't know.
You were
Because they
going
just
to
told me,
Scores.
what they said was, get dressed, we're all going out. And I was like, no, I got to, I'm tired, people. See, my coworkers only started at 4 on Friday. I started at 10 because I was with the Rockettes, but go ahead.
So Tasha and I come over, and Pete lets us in the room. He's like, I got to go out with these people. And we're kind of waiting to see if there's an invitation. I thought, well, he just wants to hang out with his workers. That's totally cool. No big deal. We're not big going out people anyway. But it's now we're in New York for the night with nothing to do. So we just walked around a little bit, got a slice of pizza, and came back to bed. And then in the morning, he tells us he's at friggin' Scores.
My ass stumbles in at 4 in the morning.
And we're both like, oh, and we didn't get to go along.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You bastard.
I know. It was 8 it was 8 women, whatever, who went, and 2 guys. And one of the guys was the husband of one of the girls. So, of course.
So that's 7 girls for you.
Yeah. Oh, God. And, the
And
old
strippers.
Love the odds.
Yeah, the adage about Las Vegas,
Right.
We were saying that all night. What happens in Scores stays in Scores. Let me tell you, as that being my first experience of ever going to a strip club, I was quite a happy man. And
I can't believe you're 32 and you never went to a strip club.
Can you believe that? Well, I was dating a girl for 6.5 years, and
So?
well, not quite that bad, because she surely went to her share of men's clubs, but I don't know. I guess I never even thought about it. I don't know. We always talked about it going in Philly, the one in Philly, Delilah's, when we went to Wizard World Philly last year and the year before that, but we just never did. And actually, when I lived in Philly, there was a gentleman's club a block away from my house. It just never went. So if you're going to go for your first time, I guess Scores isn't that bad of a
From what I've heard, definitely.
Yeah. We got in for free. The girl hooked us up. The hotel hooked us up, really. And it just was. Meanwhile, I was completely dead the next day. By showtime, I had a Red Bull, and I was like trying to wake up and just, eating sugar and just trying to wake up again because I drank too much and whatever. But I have to say, it was definitely worthwhile. I'm not going to go into details, but my New York trip, it was well worth being away from podcast land for what I had to do.
I didn't miss you one bit.
Between the Rockettes, 20-odd, gorgeous women who, a few of them actually went out of the way to, come up and talk to me, which I thought was so cool. Meeting people, meeting the choreographers of Radio City and Rockefeller, the Rockettes, for future events. Now I could go and look for their name, and I could probably get a job instantly, hopefully. And then to go to Scores.
Well, it's like, we were saying they were coming up and talking to you. It's like, seeing a unicorn for the first time, seeing that straight tap dancer guy on Broadway.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and then the other interesting thing about New York was, outside of my hotel, I could look out onto 54th or whatever. There's the Ziegfeld Theater, and it's this huge theater. The screen's not very huge, but the seating area is gigantic. And they had these 3 tents out there, and as I'm passing by, I'm like, what the hell is this? It was the beginning for the Star Wars line. And there were, a few people there. They had a lot of laptops.
Like 3 or 4 tents or something.
Yeah. And it was really kind of neat. They had their laptops because I'm sure
Star Wars fans with laptops. Who's thought?
Yeah. They had their, I guess they have a site, and
lightsabers and laptops.
Yeah. So I would love to know what that's like now. I'm sure it's starting to fill up. I guess this week it'll start to fill up.
All the rest of them bought their tickets online, so they didn't have to wait.
Right.
Damn it! I had a laptop.
So needless to say, all day Sunday, because I also went out Saturday night after the show. All day Sunday, I pretty much stayed in my hotel until we had to go to dinner. And I was going to go see Hitchhikers at that theater, but I didn't, which was maybe glad that I didn't, because then we got to go see it later. But that was my New York trip. The only thing that stank about it was I missed Free Comic Book Day. It was that Saturday.
Dope.
I could have actually gone during my 2-hour break before the show, because we were real close to the Midtown over on Lexington, and it completely escaped my mind. I was like, all those books I wanted to get. They had some really good things this year, and I came back.
Post-Scores haze.
Yeah. I was still seeing boobage. I was like, oy. But I missed out on Free Comic Book Day. But I did get at Midtown the Seven Soldiers second printing with the different cover and the different characters in the Seven. And when I was at the one Midtown over on Broadway, they had all 7 issues cover price of Identity Crisis, the final printings with the red covers.
Yeah.
And when I saw them, I went, "Oh, they're all there. They look at the so I picked them up.
So pretty.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I got blinded and hypnotized. So I picked them up. It was easy. They're like $4 a pop, and I'm like going, oh man, I bought some other things. I got like $35 in my hand. I go up to the counter. Midtown has every 100 you spend, you get $20 on them. I was at my $100 mark, didn't know it. He rang it up, subtracted the 20, $16. $16 for a whole. I was like, thank God, thank God for that. So
it was extra Scores money then.
Yeah. And they also had 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first printings at cover price, which I thought was very strange.
Wow.
But so that was my New York trip.
All right. Well, here's my story, and this is a hell of a story too. About a month ago, Tasha and I were in New York City visiting Tasha's sister who lives there. And we were down in Soho, and we had to go into the Apple store, because if you've ever seen an Apple store, they're gorgeous, and the one in New York City is pretty large, and it's just a beautiful, whether or not you even like Apple computers, it doesn't matter. It's just a gorgeous store. And so we were walking around checking everything out, and a woman with a video camera comes up to me, and she's an Apple employee, and she asked me if I own an iPod and if I own a Mac, and if I owned the iPod before the Mac, and if the iPod convinced me to buy a Mac. And I said, yes. She said, well, do you mind if I videotape you and ask you a few questions? I said, sure, no problem. So I signed a release form, and she hooked me up with a microphone, and right there in the Soho Apple store, she asked me a bunch of questions, and I answered them, and she said, thank you, and I said, you're welcome, and that was the end of that. Well, then last Thursday, this is like 3 weeks later after this happened, I get a phone call. It's from a woman who works for a production company in Los Angeles. She says, "We got your name from Apple. They might want you to be in a commercial for Apple. Can you fly out to Los Angeles on Monday? We'll pay for your ticket. We'll pay for your hotel. We'll pay you to be there. We need you to come out and audition for this commercial." And I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, is this a scam? Is this some kind of pyramid scheme? Or what's the deal here? You got to be kidding me.
Isn't that funny? My first reaction would have been like, hell yeah. Just because I'm...
I mean, I said yes immediately,
Right.
but I'm thinking, what? Is this for real? This can't be real. No one just calls you and asks you to be in a commercial. A major national marketing campaign for Apple Computer. This is not something for their website. This is for TV commercial.
Right.
I'm like, you're damn right I'm going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I checked with my boss. He says, no problem. Go, go, go. So, I get emailed my itinerary. They flew me first class.
Was it you and Tosh or just you?
Just me.
Okay.
Just me. Flew me out first class. First
Nice.
class.
That's worth it right there.
Yeah, of course, on the trip out, I had to sit next to Jack Kemp, that asshole who ran for vice president with Bob Dole. What a pompous
Are you serious?
prick. What a pompous prick. He was leaning over in my space. Those seats are huge in first class. You got that huge armrest in the middle. And there's a line right down the middle. It's like my elbow goes on this side, your elbow goes on that side.
Right.
He's leaning all the way over on my side, stretching out, got a newspaper, it's dangling in my row. He puts a big bag of books on the floor that's like I'm kicking it because it's not under his seat, it's half under mine. It's like, what a prick. No wonder you didn't win for... And he's got his big... It's not a Super Bowl ring because it was like some championship or something that he won because he used to play football. And he's wearing this gigantic... Nobody wears those rings. The only time you wear those rings is when you're going to some banquet or you're commentating on TV or whatever.
Right.
That's when you don't wear it just on a plane. Like, what an ass. Just an arrogant prick. But anyway, so I get to L.A. and they take us to the hotel. There's a bunch of people. There's like 47 people who they flew out there from all around the country. And it's in this real swanky hotel in Beverly Hills. I mean, it's all gorgeous. We're walking around. It's like $1 million homes everywhere, and women with boob jobs, more than you can count, It's
More
just,
plastic
oh,
than
my God, yeah. It
Tupperware.
actually wasn't even all that arousing because they're just all fake. But
Right, exactly.
and
See, now I could talk about that about scores.
Yeah.
How much plastic was or silicone or whatever was in that.
Exactly.
I always found myself turning my head away from that because I was like, ooh, that's too much.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But and so Monday night, I just hanging out with a whole bunch of other people who were possibly going to be in this Apple commercial. Made some really cool friends. It was a lot of fun. They gave us money for food and everything, so it didn't cost me a dime. Then Tuesday, I went in and had a casting call at this casting agency in downtown Los Angeles, and just went into a room and some guys asked me some questions just to basically see how I acted or whatever. We all got a free iPod Shuffle for just showing up, which is a nice little gift. Then, unfortunately, the phone calls came that afternoon for who they picked, and I was not selected, which really hurts because that would have been way cool to be in an Apple commercial. But I did make some really cool friends, and it was a hell of an experience, and I got a free trip to L.A., so...
Well, yeah, and the money would have been great, too.
Well, yeah, I found out that when you're featured in a national commercial like that, union rates are between $10,000 to $20,000. So that would have been a nice paycheck. That would have bought a hell of a lot of comics.
Especially because that's a big company. I mean,
well, right.
That's the thing.
It's a national campaign. Yeah.
Probably that was they bought out. They would have bought you out, which means normally every time they air it, you get like a paycheck, but
Right.
a residual or whatever they call it. But
yeah, I'm sure it would have been a buyout situation,
Right.
but that's fine. Who cares? I would have had plenty of
Come
money.
on.
So I was off jet setting in L.A. Peter's
I was in New York.
living it up with the Rockettes in New York. Suddenly, we're friggin' famous. I don't know what happened.
It's incredible.
Jamie was sitting at home watching Smallville.
Sitting at home with a dog.
I feel bad now. Like,
Yeah, but actually, I just found out that our local comic store here, they had was it Thursday and Friday or something like that, or 2 days or 1 day?
Yeah, it was Thursday and Friday last week.
They held a. Go ahead. What was it?
It was $40 for a small box of comics. You could go through their back issues and pretty much just cram a small box full of comics, whatever you could fit in there. $40, it was yours.
Oh,
that's a good deal.
it is a good deal. When I found out about that, I was like, I was actually kind of upset. Here I am making tons of money up in New York, walking around with beautiful women, and I'm upset about $40 comics.
Oh, hey, get this. My story has a connection to comic books. The one guy who was there, he's this 18-year-old high school kid, so he was there with his mother. And his uncle, and I cannot remember his uncle's name because it didn't ring a bell to me, but his uncle was a big underground comic book guy in the 60s. And he lives in Paris. He's a millionaire because his comics are still incredibly popular in Europe and Japan. And the guy's best friends with R. Crumb.
Wow.
This kid who I was talking to has stayed in R. Crumb's apartment in Paris. Like, he and his family have crashed there when they were visiting Paris. And the mother gave me, the kid's mother, I got her email and everything. She's like, I'm going to email you my brother-in-law's name and address and everything. If you ever want to stay in Paris, just give him a call. You can stay at his place, and he'll probably introduce you to R. Crumb because they're best friends.
Very cool.
I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
Are you freaking kidding me? Like, talk about a small world,
Yeah, really.
And this guy, once I get his name in the email, I'm sure a lot of you have heard it because some other people were talking. I was like, oh, I know who he is. Yeah, I have a bunch of his books,
Wow.
So he was right there in the 60s with R. Crumb and the popularity or whatever. It's like,
And then, if you get to know R. Crumb, you could probably weasel your way to get to know Harvey Picar, and come on, that's amazing.
yeah, it's cool.
Very cool.
So,
Small world.
there's our stories. Let's see what's next on the list. Let's
We got to talk about the reaction we've been getting for the cartoon episode.
That's why I was going to pull up some emails here.
I mean, that was a labor of love for us, and we had so much fun. I know the sound quality wasn't always great all the time, but, I mean, that was just a fun episode.
Here we got an email from Rob Galanti. He says, nicely done, guys. I haven't heard many of those in a while. He says, Gigantor? That was my favorite as a kid.
Wow.
Couldn't get enough of it. He says, and by the way, I correctly guessed Birdman.
Birdman.
So he says, best regards, Rob. So there was one we got. Let me look at another one here. Here from Bruce Rosenberger. He says, hey guys, wow, did that show bring back memories? Of course, I'm a tad older than you young whippersnappers and can recall the first showing of Johnny Quest. Were you aware that it was a primetime show? I wasn't.
No.
He says Ralph Bakshi had something to do with the Mighty Heroes, so that's why he was able to use them later when he produced Mighty Mouse.
Somebody also, I think, on one of the comments said that Ralph Bakshi did Fritz the Cat. He was the one behind Fritz the Cat.
Which? Oh, that's.
I know
Felix,
that's Felix. Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about a bunch of other stuff. He says, so when does the Crusaders Saturday morning cartoon debut? And I wish if anybody out there wants a draw.
Check that temperature in hell.
That's right, exactly. Is it getting colder? We got another one. This is very cool. This one's from Catherine, who's in Philadelphia. She said, listen to your podcast today featuring cartoon themes, which sent me into a fit of giggles and earned me some strange looks from coworkers and sent me way down memory lane. She said, this was especially true of the Star Blazers theme. I loved this show. I hated staying after school for activities because that meant I would miss it. It was an addiction, but a secret addiction. See, Star Blazers was the thing that taught me, mistakenly, that I, as a girl, should be ashamed of and therefore had to hide my sci-fi loving nerdy ways.
Ooh, don't ever do that. Don't ever.
Well, she goes on.
Yeah, she goes on
to say that.
She
said,
know, but I'm just saying.
This happened because of a lunch table discussion in 7th grade. I was asked by a General Hospital watching friend how many days were left until Luke and Laura got married. This was huge back then. I said I don't know because the Super Friends and Star Blazers were on from 3 to 4, so I didn't watch General Hospital. Unfortunately, this statement occurred in one of those lulls in conversation which can make your words ring out across a room. So the entire lunch table got to hear my answer instead of just my friend. I don't know if you can properly grasp, even as comic book geeks, the enormity of my social guffaw. That 13-year-old girl at that time simply did not watch such things. So from that time on, I became a closet nerd, never admitting to watching sci-fi except to my closet friends, and sneaking into Walden Books to buy my comic books, always looking over my shoulder as if I were buying porn. I sense these things are changing for young women today. I certainly hope they are in any case. No one should ever be embarrassed just because they like to read books about superheroes or watch TV shows that have spaceships in them, or talk about which model of Enterprise was their favorite. In any case, I really did enjoy the show today. Keep up the good work. Well, Catherine, that's funny because I actually used to watch General Hospital at that time because my mother watched it. So I didn't watch it every day, but I did watch it like at least once a week or so, and kind of kept up on the whole thing for a number of years.
And I'm the same way. As soon as I read her email, I said I'm exactly the opposite. My stepdad used to watch all the, because he used to work at night, so he used to watch all the. I'd come home and he's sitting there watching, One Life to Live and General Hospital. I mean, all my children, I knew about, Jenny when she died in the boat, Tad's sister, and Luke and Laura running around after, you said, the Ice Princess, and
yep. Goes Cassadine, the whole Cassadine clan.
The whole Think of Laura song that came out from General Hospital by Christopher Cross, and it's kind of funny because, I was the opposite. I was like, I want to watch cartoons, but meanwhile I got to sit there and do General Hospital. That damn General Hospital.
What's fun? What I found, I don't know, this little bit of history that I saw on some special on TV or something at one time, but General Hospital is the longest running soap. It was running in the 40s, like it was shown as serials before movies. When you went to the movie theater, they had little 5-minute long things or whatever that played before movies. So it's the longest. It's been just on forever. It's amazing. If it wasn't the 40s, it was the 50s, but it's definitely in the 50s. It was running in black and whites before movies. It's wild.
I did not know that.
So we're right with you, Catherine.
Let me see. I think that's about.
Although I was looking at that as you were reading it, and I loved the title of her letter.
Yeah.
There be girls
Subject,
here.
There be girls
yeah,
here.
there be girls here. Yeah, I think that's the extent of our email excitement.
I have to say, if you haven't checked out our forum, definitely go to the forum because, people now and then they comment about different episodes, but there's a lot of things on there that we don't talk about on the show, and there is a thread that talks about the cartoon episode. I've posted just recently a website that is like this highly detailed look at the Spider-Man clone saga. It's like 36 full pages long, and it's an incredible site. There's also an article on Newsarama right now from Brian Hibbs, who's a retailer, talking about multiple covers, talking about how publishers pack all their books into 1 week, all the Spider-Man books and all the Superman books into 1 week. He also talks about some other things, and I posted that on the forum. So if you haven't checked our forum out, definitely you should do that because there's some really cool things going on there.
Yeah, we have a link to our forum on comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com, our blog, which you should also read our blog because we do post things on the blog that aren't, on the show or whatever.
Right.
Oh, and I have one thing to say about the blog is if you get our show by subscribing to the BAT feed, the RSS feed that is set up by Neil at Comicology, that's awesome, and we totally support the BAT feed and we love it. But sometimes, I don't get the updates to Neil fast enough, and then our show's only on there for like a day, and then we have the next show up, and he only keeps the most current show. So it's possible that you might be missing a show every once in a while if you only get the show through the BAT feed. So just check our blog periodically to see if you missed any episodes, and then you can download the ones you missed from us directly. For example, number 20, it never even made it onto Neil's, the awesome cartoon one. I never even got it to Neil in time to put it up on the BAT feed, so you would have missed it. So just want to remind you of that. Well, Peter, it's time for some good stuff.
This week it's hosted by the Rockettes. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. I got some good questions for you here.
Hit me.
2 DCs and 1 Marvel question.
Sounds good.
First question. What was the first comic to show Batman kill a person?
On the cover?
No, like in the comic. What was the first issue to feature the Batman killing a person?
That's a good question. I'm going to just take a guess. Detective Comics 31.
Jamie, do you think you knew?
No, I'm not even going to guess.
Detective Comics 27. The first
I thought
story
it
with
was the first
Batman,
one, but I wasn't-
he throws somebody into a pit of acid, and the guy says, well, what about that guy? He says, it's a fitting end for his kind. It's like, oh my goodness, the first issue, Batman never shows up, he just kills someone.
That's
just
right.
like that. And he shows no remorse at all.
And
I think he
he's
tried
dark
to
now.
save
Jeez.
him or something, and he fell or something like that. But yeah, he
just
didn't have any remorse.
Pitched him right in.
Well, they were all like that. Even Superman was throwing people off buildings, and back then, Batman used a gun back then. You know,
Yeah.
it was a different time. You know,
Right. Question number 2, another Batman question.
Oh God.
What was the name of Bruce Wayne's first fiancée? Well, I should say first fiancée that's talked about in Batman comics. I don't know if in the timeline. I don't know if he ever had more than one fiancée, but if he did, I don't know if this is really his first one in the timeline.
Okay.
But in the comic books being published, this was the first mention of a fiancée.
There's another guess. I'll say Silver St. Cloud.
Julie.
Julie.
The,
How random.
I said the bland Julie.
That's right. Which I thought was interesting because I never knew that they had established that he was ever engaged.
Yeah.
It's funny. I got these questions because I'm reading the Batman Chronicles right now.
Oh, right.
So
He's definitely one that hasn't had a Lois Lane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I know Vicky Vale's been around, but she hasn't been around for years now.
Yeah.
And who was
He was always
the...
a loner. That was the whole thing.
Right.
That was his thing. He was by himself.
But I think they make for interesting
but Bruce Wayne
stories.
scores all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, question number 3, Marvel question.
All right, got to get this.
How did Mr. Sinister get his powers?
Mr. Sinister. From Apocalypse.
That's correct.
Thank God.
Woo! Just
Softball.
Phew.
he skates out of that one.
Yeah, really.
1 out of 3.
What a poor showing we're having.
I know, lately it's just been terrible.
Ugh.
I'd like to remind everyone that if you think you can stump the Rios, record yourself asking 3 questions and send us the MP3 file to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and if you win, we will send you a prize.
And along those lines, we should announce our Stump the Audience winner for round number 2.
Yes, let me,
Hurrah!
We're still waiting for the winner for Stump the Audience round number 1. J.M. Campbell, I think his name is, for him to send his address. I've emailed
Correct.
him. And so if you're listening, send us your snail mail so we can send those books out to you.
yeah.
For round 2, the prize was Hunter Killer number 0, Hulk, I think it was like 363 or something like that. It was like a 30th anniversary issue of Hulk, and the other one was Hellblazer 120, which was the 10th anniversary issue. Those were the prizes. And who was the winner that sent us the answers?
All right, we have Ed Moore.
Yep.
So the first question, do you have those questions?
Yep, the first question, I'm not sure what order he answers them. What was Mark Silvestri's first work in DC Comics?
He says DC's House of Mystery in 1982.
That is correct. And the actual issue, oh yeah, I do have it here, is, what year did he have?
1982?
1981, but it is House of Mystery, 292, cover date of May 81.
Well,
Although,
that's-
or maybe I wrote it down wrong.
That's, well, either way, it's
House
close
of Mystery
enough.
was what I was
Yeah.
looking for, so that's good. The second one was, question, Bruce Banner once gave himself, the Grey Hulk, and the Rampaging Green Hulk 3 archetype names that represented his superego, ego, and his id. What are they?
All right, we got Grey Hulk is Ego, and that was Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
We got Green Hulk is the id, and that's Guardian.
Yep.
And we got Banner is Super Ego, and that's Glow.
Yep, that's
And
it.
he says they're all named from the Puffball Collective. Whatever the hell that is.
What's the Puffball Collective?
I have no idea.
Wow, that's a good...
He
bit of-
just stumped all of
Yeah,
us
he
in one
did.
fell swoop.
That's great. And then the third question is, when Swamp Thing's artists John Totalbin and Stephen Bissett asked Alan Moore to create the character of John Constantine, what real-life person did they want him to look like?
And he correctly answered Sting.
That's right. That's Sting.
And I saw Sting in concert the day before we did the podcast where we asked that question. It was a pretty good concert, too.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Alan Moore has a great story where he said, I guess right after he created John Constantine or he appeared in Swamp Thing, he was at a pub, and he said some blonde guy with a trench coat walked into the bar, gave him a wink, got something, and walked right back out. And he said it was the most surreal moment of his life. He actually created a character that then became real to him. It was kind of interesting. So congratulations.
Ed Moore. He says he found all the answers on the internet, by the way.
Yeah.
And our podcast rocks.
Cool. Well, you get 3 free.
So too.
Yeah, you're gonna get 3 free books. So we'll have another Stump the Audience, not in this podcast, in some future podcasts. We'll do round 3 because I need to make these questions a little bit harder.
Oh yeah.
Sending out all these books.
Well, it's only easy when you have lots of time to look them up.
Exactly.
You put people on the spot, and then it's not so easy.
But it's a fun game, and I thank those guys for playing.
All right. Okay, here. I don't see that.
What do you got?
I'm looking. We talked about in the morning cartoon thing. Is that your cell phone ringing?
I think that is mine. I'm sorry.
It better be your agent.
Wait, it better
calling.
be a Rocket. I hope it's Mia.
You better get an Apple commercial.
Oh, it's just my dad.
All right, that's unimportant. We got.
Crap. You know what? I totally meant to turn it off, and I answered it.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh boy, how unprofessional is that?
No.
Peter's taking phone calls.
I figured the dogs were going.
All right. Oh, while he's off
we'll
there,
talk about this.
Yeah, we were talking about on the cartoon episode Thundercats bloopers, and Peter found a link to them here, so I'm gonna try to open one up here and see if it'll play for us here. All right, let's see if I can't find one of these things here. I don't know what's gonna come up. They seem.
You gotta snap out of it, Lion-O! Call the Thundercats before...
Shut up, you fuck. I should have known the Territor didn't mean us any harm when the Sword of Omens didn't obey me. And anyway, it was just plain stupid to assume it might be bad. Just what the fuck am I talking about?
Oh, Lion-O! We're not...
What's the matter, Snarf?
I got a cold.
It's when Wily Cat and Kid are pretending to be the most helpful that they're dropping their pens on the thing while I'm talking.
And keep your foot off that blasted Somoflange.
What the fuck is a Somoflange?
I have to do that again.
I'm going to put this one right between her pretty...
That's the line of the show right here. Let's find the mega condenser. I'm saying that too fast. Let's find the mega condenser. Still going too fast.
What's wrong, Lion-O?
Oh, fuck, here it is again.
What's here again?
That thing, that mega thing.
Want me to say it?
Yes! Thunder! 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 Thundercats! I'm going too high.
Motherfucker!
You fucking dog, yeah!
Shut the fuck up! Get over here, bitch!
Ah! Damn!
Run out the fucking plank, boys!
Come here, motherfucker.
Well, that little bit of fun.
That's hilarious.
One was 4-letter words.
Oh man,
That was the Thundercats bloopers we were talking about in episode 20 that we didn't get to play. So.
that is hilarious.
We should have prefaced that with, get rid of your kids and turn down your stereos. But
Too late now.
They gotta learn it sometime.
yeah,
Wow.
that is just. Lion-O sounds really like a jerk. I mean, he really sounds kind of like very arrogant and
Well, when you have a voice like this,
Yeah.
you can have anything you want.
dropping your pens while I'm talking. Wow, that must have been a stressful day that day.
Yeah,
Look how much fun that is, though.
I know. It's great. All right.
And like I said before, you can just easily do a search. All I put in was Thundercats bloopers. And I think, actually, there's a couple websites that actually put, like, a little flash animation to it. So I'm going to have to try to check some of those out, too.
All right. Well, I think our last item for the day, real quick, is Peter and I were lucky recipients of some freebies from a listener.
Woohoo!
This was great. There's some guys, two brothers, do a webcomic called Alpha Shade. It's www.alpha-shade.com. And they just published a whole bunch of their...
Chapter 1.
Yeah, Chapter 1 into a trade paperback. And they sent both Peter and I a copy. And it's great. I read it last night. We got it yesterday, and I read it last night. And I really enjoyed it. And I think Peter's shaking his head that he did too. We're going to hopefully have an interview with those guys in an upcoming episode. We have to coordinate that and set up a time and everything. But so we'll talk about it in much greater detail when we do that. But definitely go to their website, check it out, alpha-shade.com. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a forum. They have they do kind of like a podcast as well about, I forget how, I think they call it rants or something, rants. Excuse me. They have flash video where you can see their process of how they made each page. They basically put up a page, whenever they can, and then with the idea that they're going to collect it afterwards. It's a beautiful package. I mean, the book itself is heavy. It's great paper stock. It's being sold. I think they said it's actually being sold at some bookstores as well. And it's an interesting story. It's a beginning.
Yeah.
They want to do it's chapter 1. It's about 90-some pages, I think, and they want to do 16 chapters in a book, and they want to do 3 books. So this is going to be a huge undertaking.
Huge story, yeah.
And I think they're off to a great start. So check that site out. You'll get to see a little bit more what it's about, some of the characters, and I applaud them for their work. They've had it translated into Japanese. I think somebody even did like a video of a page or two, and it really does look kind of interesting. So
yeah, Brian just handed it to me right before we started the podcast for me to read eventually, and and it's really not what they're saying isn't, they're not just blowing smoke up their dresses. It's a really nice. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks totally professional.
I say manga isn't my total cup of tea, but this looked really. This is like some of the better stuff that I've seen, and to know that it's not, a professional studio doing this. It's just a couple guys doing it at home for the love of it, and it looks really nice. I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing what the story's like.
Yeah, it's if you want to give it like a really quick, basic idea of what it is, it's got some war aspects, it's got some mystical aspects, human story interests, subplots, traders.
Good sci-fi stuff mixed in with realistic stuff. It's
like alternate reality type.
Yeah,
like alternate history type.
Yeah. Let's just put it this way: it's got floating ships. Anything that's got floating ships, and I'm right in there. Well, Peter, I think it was Peter. You said it kind of reminds you of like a cross-gen-ish kind of atmosphere that the story is set in.
It kind of reminded me and this is purely on initial looking at it, reading. I'm not trying to compare it, but it kind of reminded me of like Meridian, where wasn't Meridian the one where they had like the ships, the floating wood or something that,
yeah.
But yet there were some mystical aspects to it and. A lot of political intrigue, so it did. The minute I read it, I was like, "Wow, this is really." I could see why this is going to be a huge storytelling.
Yeah, because it sets up a lot of characters right off the bat.
And in the back of the book, they have they do
behind the scenes
text
kind
pages,
of stuff,
and a map. Did you see the map?
Yeah,
the map
nice
is really
map.
cool. So big shout out to those guys, and we can't wait to interview them.
Cool. All right, well, I think that wraps us up for the day. If you want to email us, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and our website blog is comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com.
And get working on that contest.
Yes, enter the contest. You have till June 1st, so don't be slackers.
Can I just say one thing?
Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, this was the thing I was telling you guys about Family Guy. I just kind of want to leave it on a high note, on a laugh.
Okay.
I don't know. We normally don't do spoilers, but this isn't really a spoiler because Family Guy TV show, love it. It's back, new ones, and they throw so many jokes at a wall, and some stick, some are bad, but this one just caught me off guard. And I haven't told these guys about this because neither of them have seen it. Haven't told them about it. I want to get their reaction on the air. For some reason, just a non sequitur, Peter just, something's going on, and Peter says, you know, that reminds me of the time that I was a Wonder Twin. So I'm like, of course, you know, my radar goes up. Like, what's he going to do? They flash to Peter in a Wonder Twin outfit with a P on his chest.
Right.
In walks Jaina. They go, Wonder Twin powers activate, and they activate their Wonder Twin powers. She goes, form of a hawk, and flies off. Peter looks at the camera, kind of gives the camera a look, and he goes, shape of Jaina's tampon.
Oh, my God.
He goes into a tampon, boom, 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 across the coffee table into her purse. And all you hear is, and now we play the waiting game.
Oh, my God.
And that was it. And then they go, I sat there, and I just like, ah! Oh, my God. I almost fell off the sofa. The dog thought I was going crazy. But I had to tell you guys that because it was just one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen.
That show's insane. The show is insane. I mean, it's hysterically funny. I love it. But sometimes they do things like that where you're like, did they really just say that?
So I wanted to leave the show on a laugh, and hopefully everybody laughed.
Hey,
That's
after we
great.
got done with the Thundercats bloopers, pretty much doesn't matter what we say after that.
True. Mother.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.